Yep, it's independent of
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
many you bridge.
Yeah.
Okie dokie.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Welcome. It is Saturday, June 15th, 2024. And this is episode 8 bazillion of Push It Top.
8
right, we're here.
bazillion. Damn.
8 bazillion. It's
eight
a big
bazillion.
number. A lot of zeros. Zeros.
As long as this episode isn't episode 8 Brazilians, then
Because there's only 4 of us here.
yes, and I don't think we can pass off as Brazilians.
Well, you don't know what's out of frame.
It's really 8 braziers.
I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what that could possibly mean.
You know what it means. Asmock, stop fooling around.
So far, we've got Soth, McLeod, Phantomite, and Erik, and there may be a wild Dirk appearing.
I know that the rant extraordinaire is going to be on here, aka Dirk. So
he said soon, so he'll be here in like an hour.
Yeah.
No, he's not making food, so it's fine.
Soon is like the age-old Microsoft minute.
1 minute file transfer, 1 year file transfer, 30-second file transfer, 1 decade transfer.
So that's not even just a Microsoft problem, is it? Have you ever seen a progress bar that progresses at a regular speed and doesn't jump around? I install stuff at work for users sometimes, and one piece of software, it sticks on 0% for literally 3 minutes and then jumps to 100%. I don't even know what the point of there being a bar is.
If your CPUs weren't just so fast, it would be slower.
I guess, yeah. You do have a point there, Phantomite, but then again,
Yeah, that's true. It's true.
Maybe the classic Microsoft kind of progress bar, maybe it's like nobody can code it, so they all just code bullshit into it. Like,
I think actually Tom Scott did a video about this exact problem, so that's probably the go-to for if we wanted to learn. But yeah,
it would be very much his sort of thing. I miss the dude. I miss those videos.
It's rare to see a YouTuber go out on a high.
Oh yeah. Actually, I wanted to mention something that was on that might have been on Erik's radar. In actual fact, more on Erik's radar than most people here. In actual fact, but I asked this a couple of weeks ago because it did happen a couple of weeks ago, maybe even 3 weeks. I'm not entirely certain, but that golfer getting arrested. What's your take on it, Erik?
Stupid cop.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, he was a little. I mean, I'm pro police, so don't get me wrong here, folks. But this guy was a little big on himself. He had a little bit of a history of not obeying the rules. So all the charges were dropped. But Scotty Scheffler's one of the nicest golfers around. So
yeah.
Not that I personally met him or anything. He.
So if people don't know what happened, basically there was a road traffic incident that occurred that unfortunately ended with a fatality, and so near to the near to the sort of the golf course, golf course called Valhalla, strangely enough.
I mean this is on a little 2-lane road, the entrance to Valhalla. Okay.
Well, the entrance to Valhalla, but it comes off like a 4-lane, large road, right? And that's where the accident happened. And all the a lot of the traffic had got backed up, but they had to sort of they essentially kept 2 lanes open in order to divert traffic in and out of the Valhalla Golf Club. But apparently. This is according to the police or whatever. Apparently, he was waved down to basically stop, and proceeded to basically just drive off with one of the cops attached to his car. and then
that is apparently all in dispute.
Yeah, they just so happened the every single police officer there just so happened to not have their body cams working that moment that day. You know.
Yeah,
strange, right?
Yeah, when you read all the reports and see all the video, right? Basically, he didn't drag the cop, right, or any of that. No. The what happened was when they ride in very specific cars for the PGA. They've got labels all over them, and you know who
even
they
on
are,
the roof,
right?
So they can see people. Yeah. So
but the players are given an express in, and obviously there was a fatality. Actually, it was one of the shuttles. And by the way, this is all at like 4:30 a.m. or 4 a.m. in the morning, right? Yeah. So one of the shuttles had hit one of the long-time patrons of this event at the club. I mean, it was a big deal who they struck and hit him, and it was a fatality. It was terrible. But the police were doing anything in it, and apparently, if you have Scheffler's, take on it, he was looking at one cop who was motioning him forward. And as he went forward, this other cop started screaming at him and hitting on his window with his flashlight and stuff like that. And he stopped. So, but, just a big, because it's a small entrance to Valhalla. Okay. And they do give the golfers priority entrance and things like that. I mean, they're always waving them through, and that's what they're supposed to do because they have to get there to compete. Right. Anyway, the charges were all dropped. The cop never turned his body cam on to record anything that he said. And if you actually read the police report, it's just like insane, right? But this cop has been reprimanded so many times for not following the rules and all kind of stuff. So I think he just wanted a big payday from Scheffler, to be honest with you. But
it's not a good look for that precinct. Especially considering that precinct hasn't exactly had a good fucking history either. So
yeah, the whole Memphis police thing, right? Is it Memphis? I don't know. Louisville police, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I just, immediately, understanding the history of Scotty Scheffler and everything, right? I'm just sitting there going, okay, if he really did this, there's going to be an honest mistake somewhere, right? Because but doesn't fit this guy's MO because he's not the privileged asshole type.
I just love how there were enough dash cams and other cams, and obviously there was a fucking news crew near there as well. Jesus Christ! Of all the fucking places to say that something happened that didn't really happen, and then claim it when you don't have any evidence of it. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, they take him in and they take his, picture and they book him and all this stuff. And he's just so nice to all the cops that are doing this to him, right? I mean, it's, assholes aren't nice to people like that, right? And, I mean, they're all just being nice to each other because, he's like, he knows it's going to get fixed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So. But yeah, I mean, Scheffler's not really doing good this weekend. As I turn here to my left, it's a commercial. I am watching the 124th U.S. Open here as we're doing the show. That is the TV in the corner that you can't all see, and the sound is off. So yes, there was I was watching and listening to golf as I was sitting in a hot tub. I told the guys earlier because my back really hurts me today. I golfed yesterday and did something to it. Strange. Golfed really well. But did something to myself. So as I was there for my 7:45 a.m. tee time today, I was like, I don't think I can swing a club today. I'm just gonna go home.
Well, I hope your back kind of feels a bit better.
Hey, Hazitude, Braden.
Hey, thanks for the raid, Haz.
All right. So that's that's me and that's my golfer thing.
Let's talk about the most important thing about this week. The most important thing that has occurred this week, and that is you can now put eyes on your shipskins.
Now, are they googly eyes?
And this was specifically the reason why Phantomite is here, because he really wanted to talk about it.
Because you know what, I live I live for cosmetics. Absolutely can't get enough of them. It does seem convoluted, this process, doesn't it? And I think that's putting it lightly.
A little bit.
You can tell that there's still no cat ears by the fact of Jinton missing.
Mm-hmm.
He'd be everywhere if he'd got his wish. Not just his wish, though, is it?
It is the wish of thousands.
So how many years are we waiting for CCP to put a cosmetic on the store that people would buy and give them money for? How long has it been waiting for cat ears? It's probably been a meme for about a decade at this stage, hasn't it?
Yeah,
Money on the table. Money on the table.
I don't think you're even, I don't think you're even accentuating that. Like, I think it has probably been for like a decade.
Yep. But it is undoubtedly a convoluted process, and to mention nothing of the expense after expense after expense of doing this. And then on top of that, also the very wide array of skills that they're asking people to train to do every part of it.
Well, look,
gotta have skills. Come on.
You can't paint something unless you can build something. Like,
Yeah.
I can't paint a wall unless I can build it.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, look, it is not Doug who is joining us.
Hello. How are you? So, judging from the couple seconds of conversation I caught, I presume you're all on about the Skinner box?
Yes.
The mobile game?
Yes, the most important feature that landed, on this expansion.
Ironically, for all the shit I'm going to give it, it's also the least fucked up.
So, I was literally about to be like, sorry. What I meant was the only thing in the expansion that wasn't completely fucked.
Yeah, because fun fact, it was also the only thing that was tested.
Well, it did have a mass test
that gets the money. So, like,
they needed to test that because that's their money maker.
Yeah,
they got to have the money making part of the game fully tested.
Have you guys gone through how absurd it is?
Well, Phantomite was hinting at it.
On it.
I'll let him get back to it.
You carry on. You carry on. All I have to say is that it's a long, convoluted process that's expensive.
It is. And also, from my understanding, you can't preview colors before buying. You have to pay to buy them to be able to see what they look like and if you want to use them.
Oh, that's fantastic.
What the fuck?
I went to a DIY store today. Like, strange enough, they actually show the colors before you purchase them.
Oh, wait, did they not allow you to see what's in the paint pot, right?
No, I think I was allowed to, in actual fact. It's amazing.
I've never heard of that before.
And that's actual paint as well. That's not like
that's
digital paint.
What I was about to go to.
That's not like we've opened this paint. We can't use it. We can't
we can't sell it now.
Like, either you purchase it or we wasted this paint. Like, if only you could. If only it was easier and cheaper, or not even in any way expensive whatsoever to do that digitally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's I don't know.
Tell you what, this is a little bit of a tangent here about it, but
a tangent.
The skinning system,
push to talk.
The skinning system here, along with some other non-undocked in space activities, have always felt to me like they've been absolutely ripe to be obviously in the client, but also, and I know CCP's track record with apps hasn't been very positive, but these things could also be an app so that you can be working with these systems while you're on the bus or at work when you're supposed to be working and things like that. And then you can finish it and it's in the game, that kind of thing. That would be awesome.
Yep.
You have a point there.
The thing is, it's not the only app they're working on, though, because there is an app they're working on. It's just not one that any of us want.
Go on.
I can't remember where this was publicly said, but they are working on an app for the crypto game for its wallet.
Okay.
And they've got a
I mean,
third-party company
makes
to do
sense.
it.
Makes sense. I mean,
Why
there's
can't they
not
use
a
that same
lot.
third-party company to redo Portal? Or
There's
do a
not
PI
really
app?
a lot of things that we can talk about in that people who know can't tell us, and if they can't tell us, we don't know about it. We can't really, not really a lot we can do about the alternate project.
Phantomite, some of us haven't signed the NDA, but have seen things.
Well, we need to be a bit more specific here. Some of us haven't signed the NDA for the crypto game.
That's also true, yeah.
Some of you have signed NDAs for other stuff, so let's not go there in full, but
I wasn't
going off of public statements. I'm talking about that. We know they're doing an app for that. Why can't they do more apps? I don't. Did they ditch Portal to do this wallet?
So
Portal,
I was going to
from what I hear, Portal was a third-party developed app that they were quite hands-off with, and then essentially that's it. It's done, and they didn't have the resources or proper access or documentation to maintain it, and so they threw it in the bin.
I bet they did that. I bet they did that thing like when you purchase like art assets from a third party like artist, and they didn't pay for the actual files as well. They just got the final product. They didn't get any of the workings.
Are you saying they paid for the links?
Yeah, basically.
Probably.
I mean, what would be nice is if if they can't make and maintain a useful app for things like your skill training and reading various in-game bits of information like Portal was, then if they could put some effort into exposing some more useful ESI endpoints, perhaps that they limit to certain proven individuals.
Are you trying to make Hilmar? Are you trying to make Hilmar like seething with rage? He doesn't want to pay for more bandwidth because of more ESI endpoints that people are pulling from. Like, do you not realize this? This is entirely the reason why he is 100% in the Project Awakening thing, because he doesn't want to be able to pay. He doesn't want to pay for bandwidth and that kind of stuff. Like, he wants you to pay for that bandwidth.
It could be worse. We could be back in the 2000 and pre-2000 and something like 8 era and not have such a thing as a skill queue.
Yeah.
Oh well, there's a certain bit of like respectability to know that people take the game so seriously that they wake up at 3:30, 4 in the morning to change skills.
No, that's not what you did. You just plugged in a long skill and then
not if you wanted that done. Not if you wanted that done for the next day.
I mean,
although to be fair, most people who were to do that didn't like wake up and do that. They basically played until it finished, and then they plugged it in and went to sleep for like an hour or two.
We need to remember though, this was also the era of when CCP are going to do Patch Tuesdays. You put in a week-long skill just to account for the fact that the server's going to break somehow.
Just in case, just in case, it happens again. Yeah. That was also the era of boot.ini as well.
We're talking obviously the skill queue, and that can have its own discussion of how quality of life changes have happened now over the years. I'm going to use that to talk about. There have been some nice quality of life changes in this pack, right?
Should we go through those? Should we get the patch notes up?
Oh god, you want the actual patch notes? Shit, okay.
I haven't printed it out, so I don't have it here physically in front of me. I will find it though.
Quality of life change.
I don't think that was
one that was actually quite nice. The introduction of a info skirm mind link. That was quite nice.
Yes. Yeah, that was actually one of the best ones.
Is there still one missing combination in that case?
Yes, shield and armor.
Shield and armor, of course.
that is the one missing.
Never happening.
I'm not too worried about that then.
Does anybody actually need that at all? Really?
Strangely enough, considering the dumb stuff that we've seen CCP do, I'm surprised that that wasn't the first one that they introduced. Right?
Well, I mean, we've only had ships that were bonused towards those two for 4 years now, so you know.
Technically, the Loki is bonus to both shield and armor.
I'm not sure it is. Let me look it up.
Should be
can
shield,
be.
armor, and skirmish.
It can be, yeah.
That's actually an interesting one. I'm
fairly sure the Proteus can be.
No, the Proteus is.
The Proteus won't have any shield.
No, the Proteus is armor, skirmish, and info. I could be wrong though.
Is it just me, or does Pythor take ages to load for you guys these days?
I
mean, honestly, launch your Pythor. Tell me how long it takes for it to launch.
It'll probably come up saying like your Pythor is out of date. I'm like, yes, of course
it has, but yeah.
It just pulled up. I launched it about 5 seconds before you said launch your Pythor, and it's just pulled up now.
Yeah, mine took about 5 seconds, maybe.
Let's see. Yep, that is taking way longer than I expected.
Yeah, it's quite slow for startup these days.
I'm
in like 2 seconds.
A bit out of date.
Nonetheless, that shouldn't delay its opening.
True.
Morning, weirdos.
Hello.
Hey. Oh yes, by the way, people who haven't recognized the voices, but who goddamn well should. Dirk joined us, Bardgo's joined us, and Dawn is here now.
So yeah, the Loki is armor, shield, skirm. The Prote is armor, info, skirm. The Tengu is shield, info, skirm.
Yes.
And
you were dead right about that, Loki.
Is
armor,
also
info,
armor,
skirm. Yeah.
Info, skirm. Yes.
So, okay, there is one ship in the game that could benefit from both an armor and shield mind link.
Yes.
Yeah.
In theory, if you were fitting it like a fool.
Hey, look.
I mean, we're talking about EVE players.
I mean, it would help kitchen sink, but who runs that?
Loki is a bit expensive for a kitchen sink fleet, unless you're boat.
Might I remind you that we tried out armor scimitars with shield reps. We actually tried that.
We're saying nothing about these silly ideas.
And shield and near us is with armor reps, and they can complement each other.
Hey, look, we did armor ravens. Okay, it works. It's fine.
So Equinox, right?
No, you know what it would buff, right, Dirk? Because we completely forgot it. It would buff the new industrials.
Oh Jesus! As if they don't need more buffing.
I mean,
it would shield armor buff those new industrials. And we'd get more memes like last night.
Since Dawn has joined us, Dawn, do you want to tell us what happened with that last night?
What happened? Where?
That kill mail that you linked us.
I didn't do it. I was given the kill mail of like 15 squalls fucking destroying a Vargur.
So what kind of tank are you getting out of these then? I haven't looked into the new industrials, all I'm
you don't want
familiar
to know.
with.
It's
I do want to know. They're interesting
it's
ships.
pretty funny. Like, I can't believe... Did you post it anywhere, Dirk? You can put it in the chat.
I'm trying to find
Let's have a look.
It's up there. I put it in the main chat.
You can get some pretty decent stuff.
No, I didn't. Did I?
So it obviously works best if you're aiming for a PvP setup. If you're looking for it to tank, then obviously you go with shield with it. And yet the Squall doesn't have any. It doesn't have any tanking bonuses.
Nope.
Just reading through them now. Any particular tanking bonuses? Let's see what it compares to.
See, the thing is, this is like
yeah,
this is now easy street when it comes to sort of actually like PvPing in an indie ship. Technically,
So
back in the day,
Sort of.
back
dropped
in the
the
day,
mail.
you would
Yeah.
PvP in something like a Sigil or a Nereus.
And maybe you'd have a bait skiff.
I
Maybe.
mean, not to like try and be boring about it, but I mean, if you wanted, there are hundreds of ships that are better at PvP than the Squall.
Oh yeah,
Well,
it
that's
is,
why that's why I don't have a problem with it doing some damage and having some tank.
it is a bit of a meme thing, but I have dropped the Varga kill mail into Twitch chat for everybody. This is a Varga getting memed on, just clowned on by a small fleet of the new Squalls. The Squalls are fit with hams. They have like 15.5k EHP and do just shy of 300 DPS or so.
No joke. It's more DPS than that.
It wasn't
it's
more
a
than that for
20.
the one that I randomly pulled from the Lost Mails.
I mean,
Did
for
you
example,
account
if
for its bonuses?
I'm
you're
telling you,
going
I put it into
for-
Pyfer. I pulled
Oh,
one of the
okay.
Lost Mails, and it
Look, all I have to
fit.
say.
As fit for this meme fleet, they were doing about 300 DPS each.
Okay.
And
'Cause you can get
they
like
dropped on this
600 out of them.
Varga, and yeah, for the
but
sake
they
of
don't. If you're fitting it for damage, you can get. In theory, you can get 600 DPS out of them, but at the same time, it doesn't have any application bonuses, and that's with hams, which really aren't very good against small targets, which is what it's going to be most fearful of getting caught by.
No, this one they were not scared of a tiny target. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Well, I mean, when you've got enough of them.
This is just one of those kind of fun moments where no one's figured where this ship sits, now knowing that it can PvP. So, someone's
I'm going to
to
protest that again and say, not that it can PvP, it's that it can fit some weapons.
Okay, yes, that's better phrasing.
I mean, isn't the Retriever better because its damage is in drones and it can carry a fair few of them, and that's better for chasing smaller targets?
Theoretic, but don't. You're going to give people ideas.
Yeah, but it's not the new hot
Retriever Squall fleet.
Yeah,
but the only thing I can really say with confidence about this particular kill mail is, if you are going to be talking back against against all authorities, make sure you have like 17 of your friends coming alongside you in squalls.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I mean, or like just a Rupture or any other cheap PvP ship,
or maybe some
literally
actual PvP
anything.
ships.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Hoff makes a good question in chat. Can you indie bridge these?
Almost certainly.
Yeah, most
because
definitely.
they are
They're in the right category. They're in the right category. Yep.
Yeah.
They'll probably get the Hauler like 90% reduction bonus as well.
Oh no.
So I'm looking at the Squall
90% reduction to
traits.
effective distance traveled for jump fatigue.
Yeah.
I can see this ever so slightly going beyond meme fleet because of that, to be honest.
It's going to be interesting once
think
people start
Squalls-
getting the DSTs.
That's
the
what I'm
DSTs
interested
are
in.
actually going to be quite capable.
They're like 60, 70k HP, right?
Yeah, like they're going to be quite capable they're going to be somewhat slow, right? They've not got great align time on them without fitting low slots for that, and you don't want to do that if you're fitting it for a combat fleet. But they travel at 4.5 AU a second, so they can get about relatively quickly, and they've got the tank, they've got the damage. They're going to be.
That's because they have to sit tethered to some skyhook, sucking shit up. So that's why they made them be able to defend themselves a bit.
plenty of
the whole-
mids.
I mean,
They've
to
got
be
T2
honest,
resists.
I can't see these being basically like roaming about, taking, sort of hacking skyhooks and stuff. But I can see them being used to drop on whatever comes and basically tries to take on like a small thing that's just hacking a skyhook. So like, some kind of hauler that has an indie Sino hacking the skyhook, something comes along to try and like, take it out, and it just pops an indie Sino and suddenly 20, 30
Okay.
No,
Okay. So Indie
schools.
Sino is like the use case we can get behind. So the question is, how does it compare as a tanky Indie Sino lighter compared to the existing deep space transports? That's the real.
Well, you might
Question
use
telling
here.
us in Twitch chat. Hoff is telling us in Twitch chat that full bling, the DST can get 1.7 million EHP with heat.
Yeah. Should
And
we
that it
talk
is
about real
slightly
fits rather
better
than
than a bus-
SML invuln ones?
Yeah,
Should we talk
Yeah,
about
that's-
reality?
that
No
is
links.
bling.
It's not going to be. It's not going to have links. It's not going to have SML invulns that are
Come on,
rolled and
Phantomite.
muted.
Reality
So
is
Be
boring.
boring.
What? Don't you phenom generator your little solo fucking indie.
At my low sec hovel.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, if you can get that out of bling, you can probably get what 900k out of non-bling.
Well, do you want to find out? Do you want to have a quick look and find out? Because I don't think that's what you're going to find. Remember,
Oh,
no
no.
links.
Fair. Yeah, I underestimate how much
I'm having a
they
look
do.
now. I'm looking now. I'm
Not
assuming
fair.
that we want
Totally
to fit a
not
prop
fair.
mod.
Come on. We're
I'm
gonna
assuming
get,
that we want to fit a prop.
we're gonna get Loki boosts that have the new armor and shield mind link.
Reasonable.
See, Hoff didn't even put a phenom on it, like when he was doing this. Like, oh
I mean, the
god.
thing is, you say
Flipping
no
off.
links, but we genuinely could see these getting links if they go around with a fleet, because these are the shit.
Yeah, but if
Too
they're
bad.
already there with a fleet, you won't be lighting the Sino with the hauler, will you?
No, okay, yeah. Although you
Okay,
could
so,
have sign
for
on hauler
example,
as the spare high slot.
a T2 fit with a couple of extenders, an MWD. So I'm using or wasting a mid on an MWD. Couple of large extenders, couple of invulns, a PIF CEM, a damage control, and a couple of PDSs and a couple of T2 extender rigs. 167k EHP. So it is fat. It is very fat. It can. It
That is
will
not bad
tank.
at all.
Yeah, it will tank plenty for. I've arrived on the scene. I'm lighting a Sino for my guys to get bridged in.
And obviously,
blocks
like
in.
there's some very basic bling that you could add to that. You go for a Caldari Navy PDSs, Caldari Navy extenders. You can add a little bit onto that for fairly reasonably in terms of the total cost, right?
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah, there definitely are
these
some
are
bling things you can
26,
put.
30 million ISK modules, kind of. So yeah.
So I mean, basically, even if you spend comparatively nothing on it, it's. I mean, this thing's a battleship in terms of hit points, but that's not just a battleship in terms of hit points. It's a battleship with T2 resists as well.
Oh,
So
God.
when it's being remote repped, it will take
Really?
way more damage than.
And to be
it'll
fair,
take way less
like,
damage than the battleship.
are you going to be bridging in like, are you going to be bridging in Logi via that indie Sino? No, you're probably going to spider tank these.
No, because then you lose your DPS.
You lose some DPS, yeah.
What you do is you bridge in a fucking rock.
Lol.
One of my directors
That
is
would be
pointing out
quite
to
funny,
me
actually.
in
I,
Discord that it's better than T2 resists. Actually, this
Oh,
has
really?
much crazier resists than you typically see on a T2 ship.
Actually,
it has a resist bonus.
Can you put us? How many
Shit, it
scores
does,
can you
doesn't
put
it?
into? How many scores can you put into a raw pool?
They're quite big. DSTs are quite
you-
big.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So yeah, max skills. Not only have you got the T2 resists, you've got that 20% shield resist buff.
I was just kind of thinking
Yeah.
having have a clone bay on the raw call and some squalls, and then obviously bring the raw call in for remote reps, but then you can literally have anybody who dies just literally either pull a squall or people coming in just basically they're cloning into the clone bat bay on the actual on the roll call.
You know,
With
I
2T2
just
hardness
checked.
and a shield amp, I've got this squall at like 80% lowest resist.
Some interesting options here.
I just checked Bart and Mac, and it is not terrible ideas Tuesday. So
not terrible idea Tuesday. Okay.
Yeah, but
it's not.
Okay.
When we're talking about a ship with 80% plus resist,
normally
it's not a
when we
terrible
talk
idea.
about normally when we talk like random shit, like ship ideas and that kind of thing, it's normally random shit ideas. To be completely honest.
Yeah.
I mean, you've just proven that. Yeah.
There we go. Move on to different areas of the patch. To be fair, I've been trying to find the patch notes. There's like the Equinox patch, like the Equinox expansion notes, but not the not the actual patch notes.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Yeah,
we know what we know what the major changes are. Should we pick one?
I guess we could.
Just crashed.
Did you just crash?
Yeah.
Never mind, mate.
What did I miss?
Oh, not too much. Not too much at all. In actual fact, we were tying a little bow on that and moving on somewhere else.
Is it something that Dawn wants to talk about?
I don't know. We could. Dawn, what do you fancy talking about?
I gotta ask though, Phantomite. Which version of the patch notes are we talking about?
Here's the patch
Good
notes
point.
link. There's the patch notes
Well,
link for Equinox.
I tell you what, I'm not in any particular mood to discuss exact numbers on some of these things because we've got some very general changes that we can just talk about without the precise numbers, without the precise details of the fittings for the new industrials and things like that.
I mean, can we talk
Come
about...
on, we want to talk about
minute?
infrastructure.
I want to talk for a minute about the fact that CCP have had to make so many changes within the first 3 days of the patch being live.
Okay, to what?
So, for example, the bit where they launched these new ships, having been roughly told how absurd they were going to be by players who hadn't actually had any hands-on time with them. They just kind of looked at the numbers and went, yeah, these are going to be silly. And so CCP immediately nerfed them the day after they were launched. And then the day after that, unnerfed them a little bit. And how, for example, if players had been able to test with these things on, I don't know, some other server maybe that was a pre-release, a server that is designed for,
test?
Giving feedback before things go live and not just throwing whatever you want into production. Imagine what they could have done with these ships if they'd had that feedback with precise numbers beforehand, for example. Or, for example, they might have realized
imagine how
21,000 units of fuel per light year is too much fuel for a carrier to make a conduit jump to its maximum range. For example, just little things like that might have been caught if players had been able to test these things.
Yeah, but then we don't just have that, Dirk. We then have the power requirements in systems where
it makes no fucking sense.
Well, that made no sense. That the two sheets that CCP put out were wrong. They were talking about numbers on Reddit, and they didn't even know their numbers themselves. They were adamant that the lowest system had about 500 more than it actually did.
Oh, wait. Where did you see that part? Because that's what I would love to laugh in their fucking face. Because you know what one SMAP has?
One of
like
the early
350. Like, there are systems with like 350 power, and it's not like one
of the
it's
devs
like
was adamant
20.
that the lowest was 1,500.
What a dumb bitch.
And he was literally laughed at everyone going, no, we have systems that are 1,200 in-game.
No, there are systems with like 350 power. What a dumb bitch.
Well, are you accounting for what you can get off of planets?
No, yes, here, I will get you the list. Hold on.
Okay. Because this was the thing, it was like...
There's a list, hold on.
There's a list. CCP has been checking it twice.
Yeah, no, they didn't. They didn't check shit.
I want to assure everyone that the German has not had anything to do with the list.
I don't think anyone in CCP had anything to do with the list.
There you go, Bard. Read them and weep.
What the?
Sorry to
It
stick
isn't-
to stick my oar in on this, but the fact that the numbers were wrong and then were
Here,
corrected,
Phantomite,
does
so
it
you can
even
see it.
matter?
Twice. Twice.
There you go, Phantomite. You can see it as well. In,
where
public,
are they
in
posted
public.
in the? Okay, in
Public.
public.
I was going to say.
I mean, I'm gonna chuck it in chat because fuck it.
It's absurd.
Yeah, I told you.
Like, don't get me
Oh,
wrong.
it's just 1,500. Suck a dick.
I'm sure,
Okay, so
Phantomite, you'd probably agree
Yeah.
with what I'd say. Yes, there is absolutely a need for systems that cannot manage everything, or can manage barely anything.
I mean, that's just in
The system
Dell.
that
That's
can
not
manage
everywhere else.
nothing. Well, yeah, but a system that can manage nothing is absurd.
why?
If you can't even put in like a minor mining upgrade,
Because it's the equivalent Phantomite of
then
somewhere that you can never build anything ever.
Yeah, there's we have plenty of places like that in the real world as well.
I mean, sure, in
I
the
mean-
real world, but when we're talking about a game that people come into to play and enjoy,
Okay, no, that's even fairer. It's a game. I mean, realistically, here a lot of these different subjects around this, including some of these systems, literally cannot be upgraded. It just places all of these systems on a sliding scale of this is the worst. This is the worst. To this is absolutely incredible for what
the
you
funny
want to
thing
do.
is,
This assigns notably differing values to the systems beyond physically where they are. And
Yeah.
if it turns out that these super large groups, like the ones that you're in, don't have enough of these systems to cater to everybody, then I guess it's time to invade your neighbors and take what's rightfully yours.
That's not how,
But
unfortunately,
you know
that's not
what
how it's
that-
going to work.
well, you know what that's going to mean, though,
Why
right?
is that not going to work?
Because picking up everything we've got and moving, it destroys all of our rigs. So you got to look. It's not just the system of value,
Well,
right? Now you got to
Talking
look
about
at.
picking up
No,
and
this is-
moving.
this is
He's talking
irrelevant.
about expanding.
yeah, you're talking about
Right.
like
Oh, so now
large
we got to
groups
expand to go
sprawling out.
someplace.
So now, let me just double check this. What Phantomite's asking us here, like you're Phantomite, you're requesting that large groups that are annoyed by the fact that they may not have all the space that they require should spread out more and take up more of the space of nullsec, so that smaller groups don't have the opportunity to get into nullsec. Right?
Well, here's the thing. If your super large group can't survive all focused in one single spot with instant access to everything you need directly around you, then you need to spread your forces out, which by its very nature will spread your influence further. It just means that you're not all together, all in the same place, centralized.
No, I get that. And most groups find this equilibrium of space versus, density, right?
Mhm.
And the larger the
Well, there
group,
hasn't been
the
an
more space,
equilibrium.
the more density.
There hasn't been an equilibrium until this coming Thursday.
Well, I would dispute that because
No, because everything has been 100% density at the center with fast access, multiple regions in all directions.
Sure.
to some degree. But
That's
when
counts as infinite density.
Actually, no, it doesn't. It doesn't mean infinite density because we don't have infinite anons for everybody to run.
Okay,
Well,
we need
right?
more space. Then there's more people than there are resources
but
for the people.
what I'm saying, Phantomite, is clearly groups have found an equilibrium with the amount of money making sites that they're able to sort of umbrella over, right? Versus the population that they have, right? Yeah, the density may be, significantly higher in the capital than it is on the fringes, but that's like, go to any city, it looks exactly the fucking same. You have, your sprawling metropolis right in the center. You have your high-rise metropolis-y kind of thing in the center, and it sprawls out to suburbs right at the edge. Like that is kind of almost a parallel to real life. So,
Yeah,
like,
things get
you know,
cheaper as they
you
get
don't
further
have-
out as well.
Yeah, and you
It's-
yeah, and you
so
don't,
it-
and,
you know.
but you know, there's no infinite. There's no infinity in this particular situation because we don't have infinite
good.
anoms. We have a limited number of anoms. But now what's happening is we're now getting like around about a 40% cut in anoms
Okay. So
across
is it the
the
case-
entirety of nullsec.
is it the case that there's more people than there are things for them to go out and harvest, be it rocks
No,
or rats and
hold
all
on.
sorts
Let
of
me.
things like
I
that?
made a picture. Hold on.
The only groups that basically, you know, are sort of the outliers in the sort of like the equilibrium in terms of population to sprawling out are the groups that basically take larger amounts of space specifically to rent them out. Because then that's not a case of
I
you know,
don't really want
dealing
to
with
talk about rent
Well-
because there are so many different conflicting definitions of what renting is that different groups in this game use to attack each other on Reddit and things like that. It's, you know, one group may be doing the most obvious definition of rent, which is, hey, who wants to pay me a monthly fee to rat in this system? That's the most obvious type. However, it's not really any different to bringing those people in-house and just using tax and assigning them a location, right?
Is it though?
Yes, it's exactly the same. If you tell somebody this is your corporation's area to go rat, and you also require some form of income from them for that, then it's renting with extra steps.
Yeah, but you are also supplying
Unfortunately,
them
the narrative, you're supplying your normal renters in the most pure definition with space and infrastructure as well.
Yeah, okay.
You're
but
all kind of
look,
missing the whole
I'm-
point anyway. I was trying to get at.
I'm wondering
Can I go back?
where I was ever forced to rat. Like
No,
one
you're forced
ever
to pay
told me,
tax.
hey, I'm forced to pay tax. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, but tax.
But
tax
I was
versus-
never told,
yeah.
hey, you're not pulling your weight. You're not bringing in enough tax income.
Yeah,
No.
exactly.
No,
And
and do you know what? If it is still rent, you're just choosing not to use that product, which is the ratting space. You're renting
account.
the product.
That doesn't account for organizations that don't have these specific areas that, you know, your corporation can only be in these systems.
Okay.
You know, if there are organizations out there, you know, Goons is one of them, the Imperium as a whole, you know, Imperium space is open to everybody in the Imperium. You can go wherever you want to do your ratting, your mining, your building.
It's not 100 houses that are being rented out. It's not 100. Let's say offices, because people are making money here. It's not 100 offices being rented out in space for people to do business and pay some form of rent. It's one giant open plan office where people can work wherever they like. But guess what? Through tax, they're still paying their rent. It's just not called that.
Yeah, there's a fair argument in there somewhere.
What I don't want to get into is this kind of, look at those guys, they do renting. How terrible is that? Because it's happening in a more vague way with every group that isn't directly doing it. So it's not really a worthwhile argument. It's a Reddit talking point.
Can I jump in
come
because I want to
back
go back
to
to
real
the
quick.
original stuff?
I just want to address something in Twitch chat real quick, which is Commander Starscream asking, how much is TrueSec going to affect the number of anomalies generated? And I just wanted to address this real quick, because we did have a specific thing from CCP Swift on this on Reddit.
And I made a picture to go with it.
CCP Swift specifically stated when it comes to these bits of TrueSec, the 1, 2, and 3 level upgrades, based on the TrueSec bands, so, you know, low TrueSec, mid-level TrueSec, high TrueSec, you will have 4 to 6 sites with the level 1 upgrades, 9 to 12, or
that's level
14 to
3.
18, based on the
That's level 3, sweetie.
At the moment, the 1, 2, 3 upgrades add 4 to 6, 9 to 12, 14 to 18 sites based on the TrueSec bands. So, there is a level where TrueSec, the lower TrueSec systems, the better TrueSec systems will have more sites than the worst TrueSec systems, depending upon the upgrade that you have in, which will affect the total number of sites you have. And obviously you need to have a certain amount of power to be able to plug in a level 3 upgrade compared to a level 1 upgrade.
Right, and there's no issue with the TrueSec thing, I don't think. My big issue comes from there is now 40% of systems in the game that are utterly fucking worthless.
Define worthless. Define worthless.
You literally can't plug an upgrade into them.
Okay, what are they? What can you do in those systems without an upgrade at all?
Basically nothing.
You turn them into your industry hubs.
There you go.
Because you don't have to have power.
Although to be fair, there are some industry upgrades you want.
The only thing you need to have power for is the super capital construction.
Yeah, exactly.
Upgrade.
So
that's the only one that you still need power for. So you could turn it into a capital industrial system or a
but how many of them do we need?
Module industrial system. I mean, dude, have you taken a look at Delve recently?
Sure.
There's a fair amount.
If we're talking 40% of systems in the game being turned into that is pointless.
Like
we're
spread
talking
that
about
out so that we keep
deletion of systems, right?
Yeah,
I mean, we are ignoring that you
right?
can still do. We are ignoring that you can still do comparatively low end ratting and anoms in those systems. You just can't get as many of them.
No, my understanding is you can't.
Let me ask you.
You will still be seeing some of the random ones that spawn.
How good has income been for your regular line member in Nullsec in recent years?
Shit. We are in scarcity 2.0. That is what this is.
So,
and they seemingly didn't learn from what it did to the PCU last time.
So if you can make more money doing literally anything else, then why would you go to Nullsec?
Quite frankly, if you can have more fun playing other games, why would you play Eve at this point?
So true.
Well, there's always the sunken cost fallacy,
we're
obviously, but yeah, it's a case of, are you promoting Nullsec in some way, shape, or form? Not really with this patch.
Question is this meant? Are you under the impression that this was meant to be a buff to the status quo in Nullsec?
It was pitched that you would now have unleveled like a lot of creativity and freedom in terms of being able to customize your space, But
that's a good point. I think there's something else there that would have been good, and that would have been if these values had some kind of mechanic where over, fairly long time, months, they all sort of morphed and changed so that it was a constantly changing map might have played into that promise.
Yeah,
that would have been
fine.
more interesting and dynamic and would be more interesting.
I mean,
look, I think what would have been nice is if you give people access to something they can't get anywhere else, so that there's reason for people to fight over it, right?
Yeah.
But
I mean, we have just had a conversation about this not being enough for people, so you're going to have to go further if you want the good system. So that sounds like fighting cause for me.
Phantomite, even the good systems,
even if you invade someone,
even the good systems, even the perfect systems are worse for money making than what you can do literally anywhere else than Nullsec.
And what you can do now.
Yeah.
So why go fight over something that doesn't give you an edge over anything?
There is something that's well worth noting here as well, which is that we are not cutting over immediately to the new system, right? We have been given a very blank page worth of runway to convert SOV over to. Obviously, any SOV that is invaded will not have the legacy situations for SOV, but the current iHub system is not going away right now on a a flick of a switch. It's going to be that CCP will eventually, no doubt, give us a date by which they will do an immediate flick of a switch cutover. But they haven't actually told us when that's going to be, and there's a lot of speculation at the moment that will not happen, potentially even as far as the next expansion down the line, coming in November, December sometime. So we are going to have a lot of time to kind of plan. The larger groups especially are going to have a lot of time to plan what they're going to do with their existing space, how they're going to manage these worse off systems at this point. And so I'm not seeing that there is an immediate panic for players in all of this, right? Like, yes, we know that there are a lot of systems that can't support even a single upgrade, and that may be something that CCP may want to look at, but in the immediate term, we don't have to convert over these shit systems that can't do anything. We can continue to use them as they are configured currently, and we'll be able to do that for an indeterminate period into the future.
Yeah.
It's not
That's
something
the
to panic over right now.
This.
And I think that something that, it may come as a surprise coming from me, but not only do I expect some of these numbers to be, at the very least, slightly unnerved, I think that some of them are probably pretty fair to give a slight unnerf to, in terms of either the fitting requirements for some of these upgrades or indeed the amount of power produced in some of these places. Yeah. I mean, obviously, the big one for me personally, which definitely isn't a surprise, is the drastically reduced number of Ansiblex routes which are going to be possible with this, because that is not a cheap upgrade to fit. And what is it? Something like only 40? Is it something like only 40% of systems could possibly have that upgrade as well with the power requirements?
It's something like that. Yeah, I'm currently trying to find. I saw some numbers
beyond
from
that,
Dark Shines,
and beyond whatever that percentage was, it actually gets lower than it looks, because not all of those. I can't remember the percentage, but not all of that 40% of potential Ansiblex systems are necessarily going to be in a place where you want to put an Ansiblex as well.
It's, like,
that's certainly true.
Wrong.
Yeah,
like, this system kind of makes sense, but I said this to Dirk and Sof, I think, the other day, that they failed really to balance it the right way. Power shouldn't be the limiting factor. It should be workforce and reagents, forcing you to move it around your empire to get what you want in what systems you have. And if you have an empire that is one region and you've got shit for workforce, then sucks to be you, go invade a different region, right? But if you've landed on quite a nice workforce region, you've got a good region there, you can set up what you want, as long as you can get the reagents.
Are you sort of endorsing the idea that these things should be movable as far as you want, rather than, because some of these resources can only be moved to the next system along, can't they?
Well, they can be moved to the next system along. We don't know if they can then be moved from the next system along to the next system along after that once it's there.
No, they can be distributed from a central system.
I think what we're
these guys have got homes to go back to. Don't take them too far from home. They can't commute that far.
I do look forward to stealing people and
You heard it here first. Dawn is looking forward to stealing people.
And in the game.
Oh, bloody ads.
No, well, we're not going to get to my topic, but Dirk, you know what I was going to rant about.
Well, I was actually just going to bring us around to that, as I did have an eye on the clock. Do you want to talk about what's going on with these mining upgrades, Dawn?
They are disappointing, to say the least. We still, and also
including the ones that let you pick the minerals that are showing up.
Yes.
Oh yeah, yes.
Worse than every other ore in the game, fan.
So I'm so glad that I get to pick Grime here, which is worse than Jaspit. It is worse than Kernite. It is worse than most of the high-sec ores. One of them is like the third lowest ore in the game based upon their composition of minerals. Yes, I'm so happy I get to pick out which piece of trash I get to shove in my mouth. I'm so happy about it. Yes.
I mean,
it's kind of like
Have you
going.
looked at the mineral composition? Have you looked at the site composition? Most of these sites are going to be on average about 750 mil to 1 bill in value total. And it's a million
How
rocks.
quickly can you get through those? How quickly can you get through a site and then get to the next one?
So the rock sites go from about 9,000 K in a rock to 40,000 K in a rock of M3, which is 2 cycles to 8 cycles in a Hulk with boosts. And then, so you're going to be moving around a lot. And then we don't know the respawn timer because they won't tell us anything about the sites on that part. So
we don't know.
All that they've said is it spawns faster.
Yeah, they said it spawns faster.
If we don't know the rate and they say it's going to be faster, then you might be right, but it's also largely not. If we don't know how quickly this stuff appears, ready for you to go and get another 700 mil from it, then how can we deem it necessarily yet to be rubbish?
It's apparently 200% faster than existing spawn time. So
it spawns.
What are existing spawn? Yeah. So
Yeah.
what's that? 4
Depends on the
hours instead of
corresponding
8,
size of the
or
site.
2 hours instead of 4?
I think the
Yeah,
cost
the-
is
the-
on a
the
5
the
hour
other- The other
respawn.
concerning part, the other one, is because this one, we just don't have enough answers because, like, the answers we're getting are vague and non-specific. Is where's Morphite?
That is
Where's the Mercoxit?
Yeah, there is
tell me
no
which one of these new
array
sites
for
has Morphite in it.
rich.
Are we keeping the old belts as well?
Yeah,
as these new belts? Is it just these new belts? There's like 2 rocks and Mercoxit in the regular asteroid belts that have like 10 units each in them. So please tell me, where is Morphite, the most expensive ore in the game, coming from? Oh wait, just Poshvin right now, unless they're keeping the small through colossal, which they might be, but they may not be. We don't know. Because no one wants to fucking make a dev blog with like actual information, just vague. We're changing shit. Good luck.
I would like to point out that, like, you know, this does sort of ring a little bit true to, you know, what CCP Retardi kind of said a long time ago with regards to him wanting to have an industry like endpoint to the game where nobody, you know, where everybody has to sort of somehow trade with each other in order to actually build stuff and do stuff. You know, that nobody can just be in their little corner and build and build and build and build. Like,
that's fallen by the
that
wayside,
sort of thing.
Mac, because we've got these upgrades to give us the minerals that we want.
Except what Dawn was on about.
Doesn't seem to. Yeah, but that's Mercoxit. That's
for every T2 module in the game needs Mercoxit.
Yeah,
it needs Morphite.
You don't
need a ton of it, but you need it.
Yeah, and so the issue is that, like, you know, where is this most sort of abundant? It's most abundant in what's fucking space? Trig space, right?
Morphite. No, Morphite's not even a trig space thing. I don't think.
I'm fairly certain.
That Mercoxit will spawn undiscovered asteroid belt escalation. Players completing any of the above asteroid belts will have a small chance, we don't know the numbers, to get the first ever mining escalation. This site contains massive amount of all types of ore.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's great, but I don't even know what words I want to use.
I mean, one thing we do know for sure.
I hope that is the case.
One thing we do know for sure is that with this kind of system, with spawning things and with mining escalations, what it does mean is that gone are the days of I live in this system, I undock and warp to my bookmark on this place and get the stuff from the moon or get the stuff from the escalation, from the anomalies that always spawn in this system.
Apart from unless you're in...
That's been dead for like a decade in Null. Anyone with a brain has a Rourke that jumps a barge fleet around to get the Colossus.
Excellent.
Like they're not changing that.
So what you're really saying is that there's actually no change here.
Well, there is,
Yep.
because the sites are now smaller with smaller rocks that just add tedium.
Yeah, and we just don't know how quickly they're going to do. They're going to
Well, we
respawn as well.
vaguely know.
So what's your ISK per hour for somebody
What,
with
for
like
these new
5?
rocks?
No. Currently, before these changes, what's the ISK per hour for somebody who is how many simultaneous barges is normal for people? An average.
It depends.
Well, give me a higher number.
That would definitely have been
A higher number? I've seen people with 20 or 30.
And on a lower number, we've seen people with 1, but that very rarely happens, I imagine, unless they're working with friends.
You probably generally see dedicated miners probably 3 to 5 accounts as
that sounds fair,
an average baseline.
That sounds fair. So what we want to see, and we don't know yet because these things aren't quite here yet. We want to see what does the ISK per hour look like when you are working these systems because you want to do mining as a profession.
It's worse.
We don't know.
We know that. We don't know, but the other thing is
we do, Matt.
Because we haven't
we know
we know like 90% of what's happening. The thing is we're inferring the extra 10%, right? But that's because CCP hasn't told us anything about that 10%. They haven't mentioned or dropped anything specific in the patch notes about that particular 10% as such. We're just hoping that it works how CCP, how CCP and how we, how we kind of hope it will work rather than, how we expect it to work. Like, some of us are hoping for the best, planning for the worst as such. And the issue is that, like, and the issue is with a lot of the patch that happened, there's been a lot of things that CCP have fucked up. And so it's like, it's one of those sorts of things when you're not really described exactly what you're meant to be expecting. When you do get it, like, are you meant to say this is a bug? We don't know. Is this meant to be how it is? We don't know. The onus is basically on us to kind of be like, well, I guess this is how it's meant to be.
So I want to clarify this, Mac, right? Because people are saying we don't know. We know what's in the new rocks. We know where they sit on value charts already because people have calculated that. The bit we don't know is how much that's about to tank and get worse because of what's about to hit the game. Right?
Yeah.
So we know it's only going to be worse from what is already a bad starting point.
Mm-hmm.
We don't fully know how fast these sites are going to respawn, but we know they have less than the existing sites by a factor of multiples, that even if they respawn 200% faster, like said, you get less in total over the course of a day.
So I want to...
The ores in them are less valuable.
Yeah.
The rocks are smaller, so you have to spend more time doing tedium stuff, going rock to rock, switching cycles, losing half a cycle because actually your rock ran out halfway through because your miner can mine out a rock in about a third of its cycle at this point. Overall, you are making less ISK per hour.
Yeah.
That is guaranteed at this point.
I get that. And part of the sort of, at least, back in the day, part of the advantage and the sort of like the enjoyment of like going to, say, for example, nullsec from low sec or high sec is, at least from a miner's perspective, is the size of rocks, the sort of, the capacity of the asteroid fields. And it's almost like it's kind of starting to flip around. Like, yeah, fair enough. You could potentially have an escalated asteroid field that has like huge amounts of rocks. We don't know like the percentage chance or percentage that will escalate in any way, shape, or form. So we don't know if this is a 1 in 5, 1 in 50, 1 in 500, 1 in 5 million. Like, we have no fucking clue. Yeah, and fair enough to the people in chat that are basically saying, "Oh no, well it's a game. Surprise, surprise. EVE Online's a game. How about you play it, etc., etc." Yeah, fair enough. But we're talking about trying to figure out whether CCP's fucked up on stuff or not. And half the time when they release stuff that they've told us what it's meant to be, and it's clearly not. I mean, they fucking had to release 3 different fucking versions of the the data dump that they did, right? 3 different fucking versions because they fucked it up twice. You know how many?
And then
fucking,
they couldn't even get it right
is,
talking on Reddit.
And then they couldn't get it right talking about it on Reddit. So it doesn't help the situation, you know. And when you look at other kind of games developers, you know, other people who make, you know, games competently, the reason why it takes so long for them to come out with like with a really decent new game, for example, like you know, like in terms of, for example, Rockstar, but you know,
I need to
the issues with that. Park the issues with that, but like it takes time because they have an army, a literal fucking army of people going through this, trying to break it as much as possible, as you know, in the most insane and creative ways as possible. It doesn't seem like CCP has anywhere near that, or it doesn't even feel like they need to. Like, you know, we almost had CCP Burger basically say we almost had CCP Burger basically say on stream that live is the new testing environment, essentially.
Yeah.
Right. So
two things. We've got Drake Idon, who is in public, who is interested in discussing this as well. He asked me.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Come on, you know him. But also, I don't see that there's any use or profit in focusing on the poor and broken messaging from CCP. What is really only matters is the stats and implementation as it actually arrives in game, rather than they kept giving us the wrong figure. None of them knew the right figures in the run up to it. Yeah, that's not great, but that's not really a worthwhile, relevant subject to the to what how does this actually affect us in the game?
It doesn't bode confidence, is what I'm saying. Hey Drake. Oh, hang on. Let me just. Are you
unmuted.
I think you're unmuted.
We'll get there eventually. We'll figure out the buttons.
Drake wants yourself? Yeah, I think he's muted himself. Like, so he needs to sort that out. But like in the meantime, you know, it doesn't help with confidence. You know, if I was confident about CCP
it is a different question.
Doing something, if I was confident about CCP putting things out correctly, then I wouldn't have anywhere near as much kind of
Drake
concern.
needs a VIP role, maybe.
You need to roll so that he can unmute.
Oh God!
There we go. He's got the VIP.
Like
role.
I say, we'll get the right button eventually, Drake. Don't worry.
Yeah,
you've got the VIP role now.
It's just I want to either I want to debate the messaging and the delivery, or I want to debate what has appeared in the game. I don't want to debate what appears in the game and then suddenly it switches to the messaging, and then while we're talking about messaging, suddenly it switches to what appears in the game. I want to do one or the other.
It's all one and the same because
it's not all one and the same. It's not all one and the same. If I am having trouble understanding where the ice cream van is because it is playing a rubbish jingle that I can't tell where it's coming from, that is a different issue to if the ice cream is crap. Okay?
Right. But what you're missing is we've had, I don't know quite what to call them. Should we say content creators on the test server? They have been given a chance to have a go. They have put their findings out there. We're running stuff off of those numbers. You know, we're genuinely going off of those numbers, and we're being told by them that CCP have told them that it's representative of what's in the game, or what will be in the game on the 20th. And we're seeing dog shit. And then we got someone like Swift coming in and going, oh yeah, but that was partially mined out, and actually you'll get this, and you'll get this, and these numbers will be this, and that'll be that. And then suddenly you also get another dev it's telling us other numbers that they can't even get right to their own spreadsheet they put out an hour before, which is also wrong because that spreadsheet was wrong. They're putting out so many numbers that no one really can trust anything we're being given, even when we're being told it's representative.
Eric, just
Yes.
a quick question. Do you have the ability to verify Drake on the server? Because like I don't
Right click on him.
It doesn't.
Who?
Yeah, I don't see how. I have the capability of being able to verify him in some way, shape, or form. Yeah, sorry guys, we're just trying to deal with a quick.
You want me to unmute him?
Yeah.
Please, yeah,
Well, I don't think
possible,
it's if it's possible. Like he's got the roles.
He's got the whole new here thing that Discord stops you doing shit for a certain period of time after you join a server because I don't know, this was the best way that they could think of to deal with spam accounts.
Yep, it even stops you doing things when the owner of the Discord is like, "No, this guy's fine."
Yeah,
no, he's not.
It's just
he is on
the
Do Not
option there to write
Disturb, by the way.
Yeah.
He is on Do Not Disturb.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I don't.
Like you said, he's got roles. I can't undo.
You're being so basically, Drake. You're being suppressed by Discord itself.
Yeah.
It's has decided that your takes are not okay. Give it a few and you should be good though. I think it's like a 10-minute fucking suppression or whatever when you join a server.
Really? Is it really that?
Anyway,
it's stupid. Discord is.
It is
stupid. Hey, we're ranting about CCP, and I'll say honestly, CCP have at least got it more in line than fucking Discord.
Well. I mean, let's not jump to conclusions.
That's a game.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Right.
So, I don't know where we're going to fucking go from this particular point in time.
I mean, I'll tell you what. If we're going to do a sum up, I will say that I do strongly believe that the intent and the mechanics surrounding this, if not the values, are a great move in hugely assigning lower and higher values to pieces of space.
And I think it's the exact opposite. I think they had a great opportunity here to actually get more people in space, to actually undo some of the damage they've done over the past 10 years with their changes, and actually get people flying in space again. And they apparently didn't even see the options they had.
I mean, this has undeniably massively changed the shape of space in vast ways through obviously the limited places that Ansiblex can be placed, the places that jammers can be placed, the places that beacons can be placed, the places that can be made to be, this is where you would mine, this is where you would rat, this one sucks for all of it. This is all pieces of geography that changes the shape of space.
As much as I love how you phrase that, Phantomite, I kind of see it more along the lines of it's changed the shape of space. It changed the geography of space. It has definitely changed the locations of where you can't put certain things. You can't put certain other things. You can't put various different things. Rather than where you can put stuff.
Because but it was everywhere before, so meaningless.
You could put a lot of things everywhere, but now it's a case of you can't put a lot of stuff in a lot of certain places.
Well, this is where I might agree with you on the values. The values might not be right. Yeah,
the values might not be right. Let's hope.
Given that everything was everywhere before,
yeah,
the only way you can change the shape of space when it comes to infrastructure is by denying it from some places.
Absolutely. And I do want to throw some actual numbers onto the Ansiblex conversation specifically, because Darkshines and his team in it ran some numbers when the numbers dropped on Tuesday. And they established that Fountain currently has about 70 jump gates, Ansiblex gates in the region. And as and when the solve flip happens, there will only be it will only be able to support the entire region will only be able to support about 30. So there is going to be a lot of difference in how quickly people can get around regions and how they get to different places, right? Like the jump highways will probably still exist, but your little bit of I'm gonna jump from this one tiny pocket of space that's a 20 gate jump round trip. I'm gonna do it in one, going over an Ansiblex instead. That sort of thing is gonna go away.
You know what's funny is there's going to be a whole lot less systems that have Tenebrex Cyanobeacons.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be a whole lot less people jumping blindly to Cyanobeacons.
To beacons.
Which there's going to be a whole lot of people less likely to be caught on those Cyanobeacons.
Just saying. That's an extrapolation too far. I don't think the data.
No. That's very logical. That's very logical.
There will be a. Let me rephrase it to be a bit more. I'm going to say accurate, Mac. There will be the same number of idiots who will jump to an unscouted Cyno beacon. There will just
but there's going to be
fewer places that they can actually jump to.
Yeah, and chances are those places are going to probably have more people around to potentially assist them if they do get in a spot of bother. This is but it's kind of like one of the sort of ways of looking at things, right? Like to me, it is a very easy and logical kind of way and very understandable way of basically sort of saying that, like, there's going to be less potential for being able to find somebody who has blind jumped to a Cyno and have the time and, the capacity to kill it before he gets, backup arriving as such. But,
Hit it.
Dawn has offered to give Drake rolls that are slightly higher up to see if it fixes it.
We've already tried it.
Yeah,
we've already tried it.
Yeah. I tried it.
Okay.
It is a function of Discord's new, I guess, security policy. In mind.
It's I don't. Discord's pressure. Let's find the actual numbers out while we're here going. I think it's 10 minutes.
No, I don't think it's.
I would like to point out as well. We talked about this earlier, but those numbers of going from 70 current gates, I guess you're saying, to 30 potential locations for gates doesn't mean that there's going to be 30 gates. It's probably going to be lower than that.
I mean, we will have a surplus of gates.
The actual structures.
Yeah.
It just means people should stop building them for a while because we've got stock.
Yeah, exactly. Like, don't be like, building gates if you have the materials. Use them for something else. Like, there's going to be stacks of gates, and to be fair, if somebody goes, I've blown your gates, and we say it's already replaced, don't go, oh yeah, mate. It's like, yes, no, seriously, it's already replaced. We've got like 50
then you can
stacks
just jet one in front of them in a cannon and say, like, fill your boots, mate. Are they reprocessable?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm happy
they will be.
With a loss, with a notable loss.
Oh, I'm sure there'll be a
Probably.
loss.
I'm gonna log in now and see what I can see on the reprocessing.
Oh god.
Okay. Thank you, CCP, for telling me that my files may be corrupted.
You ain't getting it.
I mean, it might be it might be a way of getting some R4 stuff out of it.
Do you want to see the unskilled base reprocessing materials list?
It's going to be like a 50% reprocessing.
And what could you use those for? What could you use those for? Those materials get back out. Do they go into a lot of other structures?
I mean, it's mostly PI stuff, right?
If they're
it's in public.
Not anymore.
Ah, right.
Oh yeah, they'll get used in.
Oh yeah,
other
sure.
stuff. Maybe not the
fine.
acceleration point,
or the conduit
coils,
coupler.
but the construction parts, the storage bay, the advertisement nexus, they're all in other structures, I'm sure.
Yeah, fairly certain. And if not, those will be reprocessed down further.
Yeah, we can put them back into the Super Keepstar project.
Yes. Yes, we'll give them to whoever is running that now.
Yes, that thing that's definitely not a scam.
No, didn't somebody... Drake's got it. It's Yodek. That's it. Didn't somebody catch him doing stuff in a wormhole recently with like a bunch of that shit?
Oh, good grief. I was so worried you were going to... No, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to type it in public instead because it's not your stream.
Are we talking about the guy who did the math and said it would take him like 6 months to get the Keepstar?
Yeah, I think. Fan, that's the wrong... Say it straight. You beat me to it. Say, I need to go and get a drink quick.
We are not gonna. We're not gonna go into into those topics.
No, we're not going into those topics.
We are not touching that poop.
Nope.
Drake is still somehow muted by.
Tell you what I will say. What I will say is, obviously, I mean, we've all chatted before. I've chatted with all of you together or separately. I mean, obviously, I might even say some people might say famously, my thing has been Ansible X, but that really isn't the topic for basically anybody from nullsec that they're most interested in whatsoever. It's about the abilities of the systems to sustain economic activity. That's the real issue.
I mean, I do get sort of developing terrain meaningfully, right? In nullsec, I do get that. I think a lot of people kind of see, that this or this stuff, at least as it is, or as it's going to be when it's sort of, when we initially sort of, experience it in what, a little under a week on the 20th. Is it the 20th?
Thursday, isn't it?
Yeah,
Thursday when it kicks in.
Yeah.
Thursday is when you can switch over systems. Again, you don't have to, but you can switch over systems from Thursday. And obviously, the old iHub system is grandfathered. Any iHubs that are destroyed in that time, or they're grandfathered if they are already existing for an indeterminate period of time. I did mention this earlier, but that bit where new SOV hubs will be forced to use the new system. Anybody kind of fighting over any sort of systems, they are going to be forced into this new system, this new functionality. So it's going to be interesting to see if anybody starts any big fights over SOV in the next little while. And it looks like Drake's suppression timer was about 20 minutes rather than 10. But
I told him
it's the reconnect.
Well, welcome to the show, Drake.
Thank you very much. I can't remember. I was angry and wanted to join to talk shit about someone for having.
You were going to talk shit about Macoxa. No, you were going to talk shit about the big mining corporations.
Yeah, so the main thing was everyone is being, and I understand why people are being negative Nancy, because everything's fucking changing. I get that, but you're all working on figures that one CCP is given and have gotten multiple times wrong, which I think, my personal opinion, they've done that intentionally as a bait and switch to piss people off and actually introduce some chaos to it. The other thing is you've been getting your information from YouTubers who had access to Sissy or Thunderdome, whatever the test server is that they use. And those people are fucking awful. Don't use that information. Jesus Christ.
I mean,
the only ones who have access.
Not
sorry,
only
Drake,
will the
but-
CC information be wrong, but those people might not be the highest quality
Look,
Yeah,
investigators.
and
Look,
and
in
also, like,
CCP,
subjects change.
if
The thing here
CCP
is,
wants
we were
meaningful
told those
feedback
numbers were-
from us, instead of us reeing about literally everything, then they should give us fucking access to it and give us the actual numbers.
I
So,
agree. They
you
should have
know,
done. They should have done like a 5-hour test on Sissy. If they don't bring it up, maybe like a 5-hour extended test so people can actually look at it. Absolutely agree, but it's a bit far gone now.
Yeah,
But again, test server, the numbers have all like they've not always been static from test server to public server before. So
Well, that is
again,
a
it's not
thing
perfect
as well.
So
because
there is that comment to
this,
make.
This bit from Dawn that we had from Dawn from CCP Swift with regards to the actual numbers in these new sites and how we know that Grimier is, worse than Jasper, worse than Kernite, is because one of the EVE partners, the partners do get, for these major expansions, some early access to be able to film stuff. It's all under embargo until patch day.
Yeah.
And there was a bit of one of the partners did a video on these new mining sites, and CCP Swift was like, yeah, so the numbers on CC were not the same as the numbers that were going to be launched. That was a pre-launch build on CC. So even the partners who had access to this stuff from the Friday before the patch day to like the Tuesday of the patch day, even the partners didn't have the accurate numbers on CC from their.
I don't buy that.
That's my entire
I don't
point.
buy
Like,
that.
The information is, we know the information is not correct, and even if we didn't, there's a decent likelihood that it's gonna be changed. But my point to, I think I was going to give shit to Dawn when she was saying that, like, we know it's worse. I think that was Dawn. If
Yeah, that
wasn't,
was.
sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I've said it as well.
But,
So yeah,
this is the first time in a long, long time that Nullsec will finally have every single ore again, and obviously the price is going to crash because they've been inflated for a long time. But Nullsec's going to get all the ore again from those mining escalations that people didn't seem to realize as a thing. The big thing is how often will that spawn on average for a Nullsec group of, say, the Imperium size at a strategic level? Because if it's really fucking low, then yeah, something needs to change. Like, I think we all agree there. But if it's moderate to high, then something
If it's
that's
like once a
insane-
day or like a couple times a day,
If it was
Well,
once a
then
day,
that
they
could be a
said
lot.
Yeah, they said the ore amounts were huge, and obviously that's not giving a number again, so we don't know. But if
I mean,
they're
we've
huge
got
and it's
screenshots that Swift put up.
It's
and
also
they are not huge, they are tiny.
Yeah, but
it's
that's
also
not the- that's not
a
the
relative
escalation
term.
size.
Yeah, right. Like because
yeah.
CCP say that Grimier is abundant in isogen and tritanium. We know that it's worse than some ores existing because of the numbers that Swift has given us. So, but CCP. So what I'm saying is that CCP's definition of abundant and massive are all relative to their own assumptions, rather
that's
than
true,
what
yeah.
players would consider to be actually massive or abundant.
So yeah. So what we possibly find out is these escalations that are in their books massive are smaller than a colossal.
Potentially. I mean,
If-
potentially
if-
we find them
yeah,
to be
if-
bigger, and we don't know yet.
If they're smaller than a
In
colossal,
which
then
case,
yes,
great.
they absolutely need to be changed because that's a joke. If they're an
Yeah.
escalation and they're basically an anomaly, like that, come on, that's ridiculous. We all agree there.
I mean, to be fair,
I want to jump back a sec though, because I want to get on this one. You said, I think it was you that mentioned it, Derek, about the test server and how Swift has clarified that they're not what's going live, and that was a preview build.
Yeah, that was specifically noted on.
That's not what
a
I've been
Reddit
explicitly
post,
told.
as I understand it.
That's not what I was told, and not what other people who have been told.
All right, give me 2 seconds.
Yeah. No, this is the communication problem, right, Derek? We've got Swift saying that, and then we got other people saying that what was on Singularity was representative of the final build.
Da-da-da.
Like, Which is it, CCP?
I'm trying to find.
I'll give you the correct answer. The only answer we are going to get is we'll find out when we.
Yeah,
you'll see
goes
what
live.
you'll see on the 20th. Will be the
Yeah.
But
I worry here that how long is it going to be for them to balance things?
3 years.
So that's another thing.
Squall.
We hope. I know, like, we all hope that, like, CCP does a good turnaround on and is, very open-eared on whether what we're saying regards to these sites, in regards to the mechanics, in regards to how it rolls out on Tranquility, it is how they wanted it to be. Because if they just clam up and don't say a fucking thing, and we're there just assuming stuff, at some point we have to be like, well, if they're not saying anything about these issues that we have, or this sort of the problems that we have with regards to whether these things are working, or whether they're the size that they should be, or that kind of thing. At some point, we have to assume that is what they wanted.
I mean, the thing
Right?
is, even Swift's comments,
Yeah, so
whilst they indicate that they'll be larger, he's even kind of made it like, oh yes, most will be a bit larger than the 18K you've seen, and then there'll only be a few that are 100K. So we're still not talking
So we still don't know the full
huge
actual composition.
drops.
We need to see the full composition because the escalation specifically says all ores. So if we take that at face value, I assume that's going to exclude Podron ores. Maybe it won't. Maybe it'll have yttrium and stuff in there. Like, we just need to
that
know
could be
the full
interesting.
composition. Yeah.
But
I don't see a
that bit
need
where-
for yttrium, but sure.
I mean,
I mean,
need
if you don't want it, I'll have
is
it. Give me all the
yeah.
I mean, sure. I just mean in terms of we don't need it, because if we're getting everything else, there shouldn't be a mineral missed, right?
Yeah. Maybe it's just like it selects a few of them and it's completely random. Maybe it chooses like a high-end one, some shit ones, and some medium ones. Maybe it'll do that. Like, we just don't know
And
yet.
yeah, maybe just gives you a fair share of the minerals.
Yeah, and then on to the point of CCP iterating, people saying it'll take 3 years. Like, I think like nullsec is the bulk, or if not, a very large share of CCP's player base and income. I think they're going to iterate this. Like, maybe it's probably not going to be as fast as people want, but it's going to be faster than Podron. It's taken me a year and a half to get one change in, and they fucked it up.
I do have something mildly positive. In spite of playing for 17 years, I have something mildly positive to say about CCP and their iteration. Now, for the last 2 years until about a month ago, I've been running a corporation focused on faction warfare, and there has been a lot, much like all of EVE's history, a lot left to be desired from the speed of iteration. Now, what I did notice was that in the opening months of faction warfare, we didn't see what we wanted in terms of speed of iteration, but it was noticeably much faster than it had been in the past with iteration. So I have full faith that we will see faster than we normally expect iteration on these features here. If we also count if we also look at the pirate faction warfare editions sometime later, then technically that does also count as further planned iteration on the whole faction warfare focus. Now, they did say in 2022 that at FanFest that they were planning to put 2 years of focus on faction warfare. And they also told us shortly after that they were then planning ahead of time to move on to another multi-year focus on nullsec. So they did look at faction warfare. It's not by all means, it is not perfect, but they did then carry out that. They didn't have as much ADHD with what they were focusing on, and now it's Nullsec's turn.
Yeah,
So-
you do touch a topic that, I mean, me and Dirk said it. Was it last week with my closing one last thought sort of thing where it was winter is probably going to be another null expansion. If it's not winter, it will be next summer, right?
Yeah,
I fully expect
Because
this to
while
be
we-
a little while of focus.
Yeah, because while we had iterations on the sort of infrastructure side of things, we haven't really had much of anything of the sort of actual solve mechanics side of things, right? Because
Which we
and
were
everybody
told
has
was
been-
going to be done at some point.
everybody has been crying out for something other than Aegis solve, please. Like, you know, take us back to fucking Dominion, or take us back to SBUs that we shoot. Just anything but solve one.
Do you know what? Do you know what? I know that nobody wants to. Nobody who is a PvPer in Nullsec wants to run plexes like in faction warfare, which isn't hugely different to running the Sovwand stuff right now. Sit here for a while it captures is not the most fun mechanic in the
it's
game.
not really
But there is
engaging.
one
thing is
aspect.
that-
No, but there is
could
one
be
aspect.
workable.
Hold on. There's one aspect of faction warfare which I think could be very positively received if there was a PvP centric way of adding it to Nullsec, and that is the idea of front lines, the places where territories meet, having incentivizing.
Yeah,
people
that could be
to
really
work there,
interesting.
yeah.
I have said that, like the
Wait,
yeah,
Mac.
go for it.
That is actually what a few of us expected the way CCP would go with ADMs, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
That
Yeah.
the ADMs on the edges of your quote-unquote empire would be weaker than in the center. But that never really happened.
I think
The
that-
thing is, we haven't had so
I
much
very
yet.
much.
I mean, we're not there yet, but
Yeah,
I also
I very
think-
much saw the the faction warfare kind of mechanics that they brought in to be basically
Phantomite's saying
the
we're not there yet.
to
We've only had
basically-
ADMs
yeah,
since
yeah,
2015.
but like
prototype.
but
Okay,
those
just
mechanics, both those mechanics, the way that I saw it anyway, was I saw it very much as sort of the light version of what potentially would be a new sovereignty mechanic system for Nullsec. So like, and in that kind of sense, I did actually quite like the way that they, like the way that they were kind of going with it. The only issue is the kind of like the plex mechanic, right? The plexes,
No,
and
it-
the fact
Matt,
that
honestly,
to some degree, running plexes is, well, let's say to some degree, to all intents and purposes, running plexes is really fucking boring. Vis-a-vis, you go out and you see how many fucking bots are running plexes, because really, who can be fucking asked to do it?
Let me give you a different idea. I know I've told this idea to a few of you. How about they allow us to trade resources between systems, and instead of them being transported magically, they are being sent over by NPC holders.
Or
Which-
players. But,
Or
yeah.
players, right?
I mean, it would always be
my
best to make
idea
players do
is-
it, but yeah.
Yeah, my
feel
idea is
there's a huge,
wait, let me finish. My idea is as NPC holders, because then your enemy can actually lay siege to a system and actually whittle down your systems by lowering the amount of resources you have in those systems that don't have enough energy or workforce or whatever on their own.
I feel like you have a fatal flaw here. It's a good idea, and it'd be interesting. It'd be a lot more interesting than what it is now. But what that would do would enable a single system to have every upgrade, which I assume is what CCP wants to avoid. But also, when it finally comes to a war, you are then forced to do the blockade to turn those systems off, which I feel is even more boring, or could be, depending on the person and whatever they want.
I mean, we
Yeah, but
already
think
kind
about
of
it.
have similar mechanics though with this new system, in that these things are auto transported but an extremely limited distance, meaning that the invading enemy can pick and choose systems to strike at the heart rather than make flesh wounds elsewhere, that kind of thing.
why not make it that you can lock a system down that produces this remotely and shut the whole empire down?
You are missing one key element in my proposal, and that is the part where you actually put people into space.
Yeah, but no, absolutely not, because it's your choice to go and defend against people invading the system or not. If you don't want to go and PvP for the system, then that's but you choosing not to put people in space.
Phantomite, I think you both.
No, what's sort of saying is if you've chosen not to put people in space, then your space gets eroded by the fact that you're not transporting stuff that's required for your system's upkeep.
And most of all, the first part where you have people in space is the people laying siege to your system. They have to get into ships and actually lock down that gate, which means you can then go after those people laying siege, and you have PvP.
I mean, they can just go and shoot the structures that are generating this kind of thing, which is essentially doing the same thing.
But it is, but it's nowhere near as fun. Nowhere near as fun.
So I'm going to hold about 5 minutes.
I think a big thing to point out is
shooting at structures is really quite
doing one thing over and over again is where it gets really fucking boring. Doing plexes in faction warfare over and over again is really fucking boring. That's why it gets botted. Also, besides the income, shooting structures, shooting posses, shooting citadels, using fucking entosis links for the 50,000th time, like it's soul draining. They should add variety. So adding variety in what Sothrasil says, that's a good idea. It needs to have a bit more thought put into it, I think. Because I think
it's just a quick idea, right? I didn't put more than 5 minutes of thought into it, but you can tell that if you put actual game designers behind that idea, you could make a great system out of it.
So, right, I'm going to do what I say. I'm going to take us back. I don't need to go back 5 minutes now because Drake, you brought it back up for me. Thank you. Nice. I'm going to be quite controversial to what even some of you seem to not like the idea of. I am not opposed to plexes for solvable.
I want to slap you so hard right now.
Get your hate out right now.
I'm opposed to only plexes for soft war.
Okay,
if I now elaborate, how about this making more sense? But there's only one plex per system. It's the Sov Hub grid. There's no NPCs on it. It is purely the tug of war mechanic from a plex over who captures the Sov Hub between defenders and attackers. You have your fight on the grid, and who holds ground for however many minutes at the end holds grid and starts the capture process.
Yeah, and the question is what's the capture process based on? Like, if it's based on numbers, then players groups will literally just bundle into that grid for the most, like in order to secure stuff.
You would have to do it by some kind of point system or value system.
No, absolute grid control. No hostiles can be on grid. If a hostile comes on grid, it pauses the timer.
Fucking with that would be super easy.
Yeah.
Yes, but it just pauses the timer. It doesn't reset itself.
You would also need to account for a lot of things like people streaming the system, like cloaked or in just some interceptor fucking off, because otherwise,
if they're cloaked, they don't.
Yeah, you would literally have people like put together like the most ludicrously fast interceptors.
Yeah,
look. You have it. You have it in other.
It has to be a big grid. I'm saying quite a small one.
But you have it in other games.
Have you seen the size of the grids these days? It's fucking massive.
That's not what I'm on about. Plexes have a ring. They have a ring that you have to be within to capture it.
Oh, that makes a bit more sense.
You have to be within 10k, having whatever fight locally. Sure, you can bring your Titans in and sit them out of range, but that 10km thing has to be clear.
I think it's
here's an idea.
Okay, no, wait, I'm entirely on board now because that's just a fucking blaster brawl in the center.
Yeah,
I'm fully fucking on board now.
Wait, Drake. I think you can do it even better.
Make it one.
Do a ticket system like in Battlefield, so that not only holding the grid gives you increases your hold on the system. Killing things on grid will also increase your hold.
I feel
So
that
using
would, that would,
alts,
yeah,
so
that
shooting alts to get better defenses.
No,
well,
it would
could
have
be,
to be
it could be the
between
other way
attacker
around.
and defending alliance, right? Would be my mindset.
How do you define that in the game without people cheesing it?
Yeah, how do you define allies? There's a big issue.
First reinforcement would be attacking a structure like we do now. Fuck the damage cap, but you know what I mean. You attack it, that sets whoever the attacker is. The defender is the owner. And
So
then
people-
only those two
so-
stats count.
So people who want to royally fuck up the defender don't shoot the Sov hub and then self-destruct. And then fuck all the tickets up. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I'm giving an example of how that can be cheesed very fucking easily.
Yeah,
like when you
would...
mentioned people on grid, my thoughts immediately went to 10 meganewton punishers or 50 meganewton punishers seagulling in faction warfare, and I fucking love seagulling. I'm like, Podfin seagulling was my thing, like my corpse thing.
I believe you've started to genetically transition into a bird, haven't you?
But
yeah, no.
But my point is, there's a point where that gets so cancerous.
Yeah.
Okay.
My thought is it's got to be 10, 20 kilometers to force people into fight, right? Not just.
Yeah, if you do something like a ticket system, you wouldn't award like 1 ticket per kill, right? Again, you would do it by value.
Well,
and
we have this. We have this. We've got it. We've got loyalty points. Alliances and Eve could be the arbiters of their own loyalty points and set payouts for people turning them in.
God.
Now this would, of course, they would have to police their members cheesing it and taking money from the alliance when they turn in their points, obviously. But that's very much a pretty good trust-based problem for the alliance to deal with.
And the other thing is, you are saying people would cheese this, but if you are fine with shooting down 20 of your own carriers just to get the soft hub quicker, then I think that's fine, right? If you want to throw that much money at it, why
That's
not?
Not that much money. That's not that much money in a Soft War.
for a single soft hub, when the only thing you would have to do otherwise is maybe wait 15 minutes, then I think it's fine.
I would absolutely spend 40 to 60 bill, depending on how cheap the capitals get to flip it that fast.
And depending on the system as well.
Just have a fucking fleshlight avatar walk in and self-destruct, and it's instantly.
How many sacrificial walk walls do people have in their hangars that are just collecting dust?
You could use the Antiplex that no one's using now.
There we go.
So the reason I'm not going to suggest tickets
with the new skin tool, they're going to actually be fleshlight avatars as well.
Yeah.
Oh god.
I don't think Dirk's seen the actual fleshlight avatar that someone made.
I have. Yeah.
It's not. Right. Sorry, I'm going to jump back in. I'm not going to suggest tickets because that is like Aegis of you're forcing it between just the attacker and defender again, right?
Yeah.
And then other coalition members can't do shit. If you do an attacker timer and you do the plex site timers and your defender and attacker have to be within the 10 kilometers, at least your coalition members can kill the opponents to clear it for your specific alliance to be in that grid uncontested for the 15 minutes.
I want to add something onto that might work. So the warping wouldn't be within that 10k grid. You would have things.
No, you've got to run in.
Bear with me. You would have 4 warping points, or more than 4, that land you exactly 250 kilometers off. And what have we just had? In Carrier-Bouche? Oh, they're actually fucking useful now.
Yeah.
Wow. Might be actually.
And you know what we're really just making here? We're making tournament arenas with an unlimited amount of players in them for sovereignty contests.
What is wrong with that? Like,
there's nothing wrong.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Like, we are just applying a system that clearly works for competitive play, to apply to something that is also highly competitive.
Is there a way that we can also? Is there a way
that Sothersil would come up with tournament mechanics for Sov?
That wasn't Soft.
Well, that wasn't him. Soft added to that for sure. You know, with the ticketing system. I'm just kind of wondering: is there any particular way that we could add like a strontium fueling system into this as well?
No, fuck that.
No, not at all. Okay.
We're not
what
dealing
about having
with this
at least? How about having at least 10 what they call intosis links involved? Because people who make toasted links got to eat.
No.
It's
Think of their families.
It's the most
Okay,
fun, engaging gameplay.
You know
Press
what?
this
You know
button
what?
and don't play the game.
I have one response to that. Eat shit and die. Okay.
So Dirk, did you do the
Hey!
for me?
Hey, Dawn. Welcome back.
No, see, Dawn, you're here now, so you can do that, and Drake can tell you how silly it is in person.
Okay. I do want to do a correction. I was wrong on the M3. I didn't pay attention fully to the M3 values on Uganite, but it's still shit. So who gives a shit?
God.
What?
Oh.
Listen, when I'll put. I literally just took a screenshot of the estimated values of those rocks, and it's crap.
Yeah, my point is if those give rise, it high enough chance, once or twice a day maybe, and the value of the escalation with all ores is sufficient enough, at least bigger than colossals, as Barga said, then I think it's going to be fine.
No, we already saw we saw what one of those looked like. But
one of the escalations.
Yeah, it was in the video. It was the first thing in the video, but it might have been mined on a bit, so some of those rocks might be touched a bit.
You know the video that they made in the test server that doesn't have the correct numbers.
Didn't have the right numbers. Yeah.
Yeah.
You see, I'm going to say this again. Swift says not the correct numbers. Other people have been saying that was representative numbers.
Yeah.
If you trust them,
communication's all over the place.
It's not as I will fucking.
But if it comes out, Dawn, and it's not sufficient, then yes, it needs numbers need to be changed. It needs to be buffed. I absolutely agree. But my point is, we haven't seen that yet, so we can't.
I don't trust them. They've fucked us over. Like they took out 90% of the rocks, and then they're like, okay, we're gonna end scarcity by putting 50% back, and I'm like, what?
You know what? I didn't even think about that. But if they genuinely do shrink these sites again, we are going down not just from, in my head, 100%, but from a 50% mark.
Yeah, and as I said, I don't know. We don't know guaranteed where we're gonna get more fight from reliably other than Poshford.
We'll see. It is the land of the free. It's the best space. Every time something gets taken from K-Space, it gets put in Poshford. It's very thematic. Yeah. That's how it was formed.
Yeah, and I've mined in there for almost a year straight, so I'm very adept at the strategies and tactics for mining in there, and I can say it is soul crushing sometimes. So
it depends on the traffic, but it is dead space grid, so it's very easy to defend.
Yes, if you have people who will defend you, that is the kicker.
3 cans and 1 hick alt and a line with rigs, and you want
until you have a Vargar that stalks you for a week straight. And when you ask people to come help you, it takes you a week to get them to help you.
The Vargar that can't shoot them because the Hick's just going to be there?
Yes, the Vargar. Yes, the Vargar that basically 2-shots the Hick.
Okay, so kill the Vargar.
With what?
Just bear in mind.
So Drake. No. I'm going over a specific situation. Okay, it took 4 paladins and 2 Hicks to kill this Vargar. This was not these miners know how to do this.
Hold on. Did you bring paladins to shoot a Vargar that has 75% plus EM resist? Of course you're going to fucking lose.
Drake,
right?
I'm telling you that me and the miners that I had with me, all of us, we had ships that dealt with what we average deal with. We have Ishtars or Algoses or Hecates or Sabers or whatever, right? We have our normal shit. That can't deal with the Vargar at all. So this Vargar pilot was so offended I killed his tornado that he spent a week stalking us and hunting us, and it took me a week of begging to get anybody to come fucking help. And so they brought 4 paladins and 2 Hicks, and eventually caught him, lost 1 Hick, and finally took the Vargar down.
Okay.
I'm sorry, this is really a skill issue.
So,
this is a sounds like a joke.
And at least you killed him. But I'm just going to reiterate: if people bring paladins to fight a Vargar, kick those people. They don't have a brain. Second of all, Vargars are a bit overtuned. I think we all know that. They are very fucking tanky for their costs. That's a separate issue. And for another specific one in Poshford, I think it was 2 or 3 days ago, in it, were mining in, I think it was Niaja. And Frat brought a shitload of fucking Vargars onto them. and Frat lost 3 Vargas in the process to mining ships, and they lost another Varga to Vexes on someone who got stuck on the outside of the obs grid that they warped from.
Jesus Christ!
Like Hodgfin has so many opportunities for splitting people apart, and you can't deal with one person. Like, come on.
Correct. Well, no, trust me. This is why I don't mind Imposhfin right now, because I got burnt out. Because basically, the choice was either mine Imposhfin and actually, like, you know, sacrifice an altitude to try and defend yourself. I'm not an FC. I'm not the greatest at like telling people exactly how to do it, but none of the FCs wanted to help. People who actually have skills in doing stuff. It's something after 8 years of playing. Like, I know my limitations. I know as much as I know. And do the best that I can.
Fine. So this isn't your system.
But no one else. No one else would help.
Drake, this I will. I think that sounds very fair. This isn't your skill issue, but this is it. This turns just into a alliance social issue. If your alliance isn't willing to put this effort in, then this kind of activity is not something that you can afford to do in the alliance. You need to find a better group.
And also, I think you need to remind those people that, by the way, Covetous could make 600+ mil an hour there.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
Crazy. And also, Dawn, if you want to come back, I have many oracles to sell you in Poshwood if you want them, because you can make hilarious money, and they can boosh.
Oh dear God!
Just saying, you know those mobile boosh things that have been in the game. Oracles can use them, and they can be anchored on Dead Space grids.
This is very much my fault, but what was the original root of this story? What's the problem we're trying to describe here?
Just that Poshven being the place where more fight's going to be the most consistent at the moment.
The main source of Macoxon,
for T2 production.
It is a big hassle because like it's only in the home systems. You never know where a home system's going to spawn in. It's not hard to find if it's in the home system because you can just use the agency tab. But then if you want to if you want to move the ore because it's so fucking fat, you either need to have a hauler and somebody with 7.0 standings to move it in and out of the home system for you, or you need to bring an orca in. Yeah,
you don't need that one. You chuck it in one of the new ships.
Okay, so it's still a hauler, Bard Ghost? Is it a hauler?
Hold on.
Maybe what put it in an avalanche.
You don't need to go through the gates. You use filaments to go to high sec and then use a home filament to go back in.
Orcas can use filaments, and also
so you want to use a home filament where you have a third chance of, or you have 2/3 chance of not any of where you want to go with a 15-minute cooldown. So you got to sit there and wait every 15 minutes, and you could literally filament 7 times in a row and never get back to where you want to go.
This is the cost of living somewhere that requires this level of travel.
But it is not worth it. The effort. It is so much mental fatigue.
It is absolutely worth it. There are some like solo miners that have 20, 30 accounts that are making
go somewhere easier.
Right. What I'm saying is that
somewhere easier
there's a right. That's why do you think I haven't played in Poshfin in like 6 months? Because it became too much of a mental load because I was the one having to do everything, no matter how much I thank people.
That you guys are getting very, very excited about Pochven, and no one has looked at the clock.
No.
Well, I was looking at the clock, but like I was looking at an adequate break in the proceedings to ask whether everybody wanted to do their one last things.
Yeah, I've gone into recliner mode. I'm just hanging out, taking a nap.
I just want to jump in there.
Well, I mean, you can start off with one last thing because you want the other part on the extra thing. So go for it.
Talking the Pochman thing, Dawn, please tell me you weren't using your main to move the ore out. Because
I didn't have 7.0 standing. I can't do that.
Spending 15-minute cooldowns is nothing when you're using an ult with a hauler and you can just use your other ults to mine.
Okay, well, sorry, Bard. I only have 3 ults, Bargo, so I'm not going to spend a bunch more money on that.
Laughs in 42 accounts.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to do that. That's stupid.
Bard, I'm coming for you next.
Skill issue.
Look, feel free.
Yes, there's many ways to move it out, but the easiest way is if you have somebody with 7.0 standing and a nice little DST, they can just go in and out of that gate, no problem. That is the easiest option, but it takes like months of doing the Triglavian OnlyFans to be able to get that.
You just use filaments and you eat the fucking cooldown when it doesn't go in your favor.
And you cloak.
But like you should,
it is yes,
it's a
it is a
dumb
dice
thing.
roll. It is a dice roll, but like when
It is a dice roll.
as Bargo said, if you have to wait the cooldown, just carry on mining with your ults.
Yeah, but some of us don't have that many ults to spare, so
I mean,
it is not a tenable option for everybody.
Just bear in mind,
and that's okay. But
I've lived in Podstrom for 3 years, and I travel almost exclusively by filament, and I don't have any ults, and it's literally not a problem.
Well, here's my one last thing. I just had an argument with someone the other day who said that filaments are literally the worst thing in the game.
I agree. I actually agree.
Were they talking about nullsec filaments?
I said that a long fucking time ago.
As someone who uses filaments almost exclusively to travel, they are very fucking overpowered. And I think the Podstrom to Jita highway is extremely detrimental on content in nullsec.
And the funny thing is, we actually found some common ground because they were someone that started playing Eve around 7 years ago. My point was the thing that started quote unquote killing Eve. I know it's not really being killed, but
I was like,
the reason why we see less and less people active in nullsec doing PvP, for me, started with nullified interceptors. And they were like, oh no, but look, like these filaments are way worse than nullified interceptors. But, those work together, right?
Can I also say that I prefer nullified interceptors over shuttles? Like, at least you risk something with the interceptors. Shuttles are literally fucking free.
Exactly. They are the next stage of the nullified interceptor, right? But it all started with them. I'm not saying they are the worst thing right now. I'm just saying that was the point where it started going downhill.
Yeah, I tend to agree on that one. Dirk, do you have any last thing to sort of say, or something you hadn't been brought up, you want to sort of mention?
I'm not sure I do necessarily this week. One thing that's quite interesting that we haven't talked about in the 2 weeks that we've spent on this show talking about these changes is the change to the Victoria's luxury yacht.
Wow, I wasn't expecting you were going to go that direction. Okay.
To basically make this ship basically catchable when you're using it to try and roll wormholes. Their aim, CCP's aim generally, was to remove it as a viable hole rolling ship. I'm not sure they necessarily have completely taken it out of contention with these changes, with the mass reduction and the power grid change. But overall, I think it's quite interesting that wormholes are once again catching some heat with some of these changes, and we just hadn't mentioned it at all. And I thought it was a nice kind of small thing for a one last thing from the patch notes.
Well, the other wormhole change that seems to have also kind of backfired a little bit. It was the actual change to the spawning mechanic for the drifter as well.
Oh, that's just broken.
Yeah, it's broken, but it's also it's broken, but it's also never really been properly addressed. Plus, wormholers are now utilizing the broken mechanic to their advantage again as well.
CCP stated a behavior for that, and nothing that the escalation does actually follows the behavior that they were trying to implement there. So they just need to fix that.
Angry Mustache mentioned that, in passing on Reddit, that they didn't implement the other half of that fix, which is why it was fucked up. Which is amazing because they did the same thing in Podstrom.
Oh God, what is with them in implementing half a fucking half the plan?
It's the classic. It's the actual CEO. The actual CEO, not Hillmice, above Hillmice, called CCP Monkey Paw. He's been there for like 25 years now. Like, he blesses everything. He's in every office. Every time you make a code, you turn around to ask a question. That code fucking changes, dude.
Is he the one who developed the term "the logs show nothing" and I need a little bit more? Psh
No, that was actually invented by the very fucking lazy GMs.
Right,
that is literally GM speak for I can't be arsed, I'm going on lunch.
I thought there are logs, but I can't read them.
Jesus Christ.
Unlike the other GM that will randomly teleport certain people of their own alliance into Jove space, then take selfies with them, and then get upset when they get fired.
Wow. Wait, they get fired?
Are we straying into conjecture and rumours here?
On this show? What?
Never.
I am not uncertain in this conjecture.
But yeah, CCP Monkey Paw, also the one who's got Manbjorn tied up in the basement.
All right, who are we with one last thing?
We'll eventually see with a. Sorry?
Where are we with one last thing?
I don't know, because Bart started and then Soth jumped in, and then we went to Dirk. Drake, do you have anything that you want to say that you want to bring up that wasn't brought up, or anything like shout outs, whatever?
First of all, you picked me first, and I just ate a piece of pizza, so now it's down my fucking everywhere.
Nice.
But I think my point is, at least in the context of this stream, is all the numbers that we've been given, we know are fucking wrong. So chill out for now, get the data first. And then if it's wrong, because it probably still definitely need tweaking, like up or down, we don't know, then present that to CCP. Because then they'll fucking be more likely to do something about it. I think that's my 2 cents. Instead of just
I love how you were about to say, because then they'll fucking do something about it, and you stopped right before you said it, because you knew
they are more likely to do something about it. Dude, I've been spending a long time getting TCP to change stuff in Podfriend for years. It's taken a year and a half to get 3 of a list of changes that I thought were coming, and 2 of them don't work.
Yeah, look, that's CCP.
I know exactly how it works.
If I don't DM Zealous at least once a week, he's gonna feel lonely.
There you go.
Listen, I'll be fair here. If the respawn timer on the new sites isn't that bad, like an hour or 2, then it may not be as bad a change as it is, but that's really the determining factor at this point.
Yeah,
it's fair. That's a dial that CCP could definitely tweak.
Yeah, if they respawn quickly.
So it is entirely possible.
Just like the faction warfare tweaks they could do.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to rail so hard on you, Phantomite, when you said, "Well, they did change faction warfare," and I was like, "What? You mean the part of the game that has remained unchanged up until that point for the longest fucking time ever?"
Hey, you know what? I did qualify that by saying that when they went onto it, it leaves a lot to be desired, but they paid more attention to it after release.
Yeah,
I mean, they
normally do.
They gave it a decade to be bad, and then they made some minor improvements.
I mean, it wasn't bad. It just wasn't existing.
I like the new system. The only thing that I don't like of the system is the antiquated aspect of the new system, which is, or the antiquated aspect of the system, which is, the plexes. And that makes a lot of sense, right? But yeah.
All right.
So anything you didn't, anything that you brought wasn't brought up that you wanted to say, maybe about I don't know, nerfing antiplexes or something of that form.
Antiplexes down. Is Zarzak next?
So, I think that at this stage everybody knows that I'm a very persistent person when it comes to the things that I'm pushing to have changed. And
he's announcing his run for CSM, whichever
we will see.
CSM.
We will see how this affects long-range, infinite projection across regions. I feel very hopeful that this could be a largely fixed problem at the end of this here, and I'm absolutely ready to move on to the next subject that I'm going to be persistent about afterwards.
I'm just getting a text from Brisk. He's saying, "Will you drop this subject entirely from now on?" he wants your commitment in writing on stream.
if Ansiblex projection for large groups to travel extremely fast, long distances regularly, if CCP is going to stop them from stacking in the center and commuting at full power elsewhere in the game, then yeah, I'll drop it.
Question from Twitch chat: what's the next focus?
There are a number of aspects of the more immediate geography of where structures can be placed that I want to look at.
I think the earliest one is Zarzak is just needs to be changed.
Zarzak is the new Ansiblex, which is worse in a way because it exclusively serves only like one or two sets of people rather than all of Nullsec.
I mean,
Yeah,
I was even
I
on
agree
Trash
with
Talk.
that.
I was even on Trash Talk Tuesday talking about Zarzak and how fucking terrible it is for the game.
Yeah,
Zarzak is definitely
I mean,
a questionable idea. That's for sure.
If CCP is dead set on it having links to 4 different places in all corners of the galaxy, then the way it should work is that you can only leave through the gate you came in through,
or through the shipcaster.
Yeah, but you'd have to be a member of one of the pirate faction war factions to use that. So yeah, sure.
I mean, that's not an issue because you can solo do the sign up thing, can't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I do also think that direct enlistment has been extremely helpful for a few honest-hearted players and extraordinarily helpful for seemingly 5 billion pure farmers who don't actually like content.
Oh, while we're on the subject of Zarzak as well, it needs a lot more buffs on its manufacturing thing, and any asset safety from FOBs needs to go to Zarzak.
Ooh,
because then it will
that's
actually,
a really interesting asset safety.
It will actually do. It's not even my idea. It's someone from Faction Warfare. It's just an obvious idea. Like, why have it as the hub for the pirates without it being a fucking hub? What's the point?
If it's a hub, it should be a hub. You know, for loot as well, right?
You might as well just stage elsewhere, like Dodixie and Jita. You still use as a pirate. It's not an issue. Just have an ult or something. So
yeah,
really,
that's a good fucking point, actually. Eric.
So we've got.
Do you have anything you would like to?
We've got no meta show today, right?
I was gonna say, yeah, we don't have a meta show. That might be because the Euros are on and Dave works at a bar.
That's tomorrow. Like, tomorrow is going to be the big one for. England,
at least for
tomorrow.
England.
But yeah, Dave is busy working tonight, and so there will not be a meta show this evening.
Yeah, sorry, folks, but yeah.
I have that, and then Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there.
Mm-hmm.
This won't be.
That's
what I got. I'm done.
Nice. Thank you very much, everybody, chilling out with us. Thank you very much, Phantomite, for coming over, and
thank you for having me.
Thank you, Drake, for persisting through the fucking issues that we had with Discord. Jesus Christ!
Thank you, Bargast, for saying just rejoin.
Yeah, have you tried turning it off and on again?
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. It was sort of, look, have you just tried rejoining this in case it's some bullshit like that?
Yeah.
You rejoin it, it fixes itself.
Wow.
All right.
It probably wouldn't work straight away, but I bet you if we'd done it 10 minutes earlier, it would have.
It probably would, yeah.
Yep. All right. I guess we're out of here, right?
Yep.
All right.
Catch you
later.
Bye.
See ya.
Watchman is the best base.